All right, guys, so I just went through kind of a crazy weekend. I filmed a marriage seminar, a Christian marriage seminar, and wanted to give my thoughts on it because I found myself much more bothered, much more triggered by it than honestly I expected to be. I expected to be, a whole lot, just kind of dispassionate about it. The way, I feel like I've worked through a lot of religious trauma, different things like that. And so I thought, okay, it's not a big deal, whatever. And the reality is that I came away from the weekend like completely drained, like, holy crap, what did I just witness? And so I wanted to talk about some key things. I might in other videos, take some of these topics and delve into them a little deeper. But for now, kind of my overall feeling and thoughts, because honestly, it felt very, very cult-like. So the basic format of this is there were 8 different couples. It was, kind of a 3-day, really intensive, really get in there, really get to the issues kind of thing. But obviously, being a Christian seminar, it was just caked with Jesus. Everything was Jesus. I mean, some of the common things we saw is, of course, there's brokenness, we need salvation, people are imperfect, people are worthy because God says they're worthy. That one is the first one I want to touch on, actually, because I have issue with the idea that our worthiness comes from God, because, honestly, that's not an intrinsic knowing I'm valuable because I'm a human being. That's that I'm valuable because God told me so. And, if God doesn't think I'm valuable for whatever reason, if I screw up too much, if maybe my lifestyle's not what God wants or whatever, how do I know that I'm still valuable? And I very much believe that human value is just intrinsic because we are people, we are all part of the same species, and therefore, of course, we're valuable. We should be valuable to each other and valuable to ourselves. And so for me, this is a very, very troubling point, and one that I definitely probably want to make a whole video on and dive deeper. But that was something that I really noticed and was like, whoa, that makes me uncomfortable. Let me know in the comments if that's something that would make you uncomfortable, thinking about it of, essentially you're giving away your value to someone else. Of course, it's God. God will value you no matter what, blah, 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 theology. But you're still giving away your internal power. And the next thing was actually in a conversation that I had over lunch with a couple of the couples. And this was definitely the most disturbing thing to me. They were talking about how they wanted to have large influence over their kids' marriages, how they were going to do the whole purity culture thing, make their daughter promise them things, make their sons promise them things, like staying pure, all that kind of, all the purity culture crap, give them a ring or a necklace or something to, kind of like remind them of that promise. All that creepy stuff that I've made other videos about and have a lot of issues with. That was all there, but it got even creepier than that because they were like, we want to have huge influence on who our children marry. We want to be a part of that decision. We are going to be a part of their dating, etc., etc. Even like into adulthood, like they really wanted to be like making that decision with and for their kids. And it's not the parents who have to live with that if they choose somebody bad. It's the kid. Like, if I get that, like, throughout history, arranged marriages were very much a thing. That is not where we live. We have moved on. So I found it very, very disturbing that they're like, yeah, we want to basically control our kids up until they're married, control who they marry, make that decision. It's because we love them. It's not because we're control freaks or anything. I'm calling control freak because that is just some scary cult shit right there. And I'm sorry, but that is fucking cult shit. I had to like extradite myself from the conversation because I was like, what the fuck is going on here? But it got even creepier than that before I was able to leave the conversation. They said, we want our kids to marry young. Like, they had this whole fucking life plan for their kids that they were going to control. And it was really kind of like a what the fuck is going on? Like, really, like, it creeped me out. Like, it still creeps me out thinking about it. I'm like, I literally was like in a conversation with this. This is like the sort of shit that you think is, oh, it's the atheist making up bullshit. No, I was fucking listening to this shit. Like, I literally like made notes on my phone, like kind of, subtly like made a few notes on the phone so I could remember the conversation and all the points they made, because it was like, holy fuck, what am I listening to? And, I don't know if the people who ran the seminar taught on this at all. I wasn't there necessarily like every single session, because some, were more intimate. They didn't want video of, couples like sobbing their eyes out or screaming or whatever. Like, they didn't want that deep shit on camera for obvious reasons, because, make people nervous, not truly open up themselves if they feel like they're being, watched and filmed and all that. So totally respect that, but I don't know if like that's what this particular seminar taught about the control. But it kind of scared me, because another couple at the table was like, "Oh, I love that. I think I'm going to do that with my daughter. That's great. I love that idea." And so I got the sense that if two of these couples are thinking this is wonderful, then rather this was specifically taught or not, this is definitely the type of theology that is considered okay here. Like, this is the type of lifestyle that is embraced here. And to me, that was really, really scary. And, going even beyond that, kind of one of the last sessions was all about like making agreements as couples and, sticking to them, all that kind of stuff. It all sounds fine and good. But then it got really creepy, just like how, again, controlling it sounded. It's like controlling like exactly what you eat, when you wake up, all these agreements that like can't shift that much. And of course the idea is like to live your best life, get up at 5 a.m., work out, all that kind of stuff, eat healthy, blah, blah, blah. Kind of the typical, I guess what you might call, I don't know, like life coach guru shit. It's still just the way it was presented as, doing it for God and all this stuff. I don't think I'm necessarily representing it super well, but it also was very, very creepy. Just like the minutia that they went to with all of these sorts of agreements. I think one of the things I found most creepy is sort of the idea of like certain topics couldn't be discussed, like what might be considered like gossip, talking about your day and some weird stuff that happened, or whatever. That's like, that's bringing negativity in. Like, negativity was not welcome. I can see a point. I'm not necessarily wanting to harp and just like gossip all the time, but as a human, I don't like the idea of any topic being completely out of bounds in a marriage, or just like shut down. As soon as it comes up. There might be great things to come out of this sort of discussion, and it takes a little bit of that talking to get into it, kind of figuring it out. But I don't necessarily like the idea that, certain things can't be discussed at all. Certain things are completely shut down. Not to say there were no good ideas in here. I don't think it's bad to have a routine, to have a schedule, to have ambition and goals and things like that. Absolutely, that's wonderful stuff. But it's a little bit weird when you're like mixing that stuff with Christianity and sort of making it like this mandate to live a godly life. Again, it's hard for me to kind of like describe perfectly because it was not succinct, but it was pretty weird. Of course, as I've talked about in other videos, the authority stuff came up. People, the men wanting to figure out how to be better in authority. Of course, to love their wives in authority, but still like that weird authority crap going on. And then, of course, you've also got the wives trying to figure out how to submit, and all of it, like just that stuff. As I said in other videos, it just weirds me out. It's not the way that I want to have a relationship. It's not the way I want to show up in a relationship. I want to have a partnership. So it really rubs me the wrong way, creeps me out, makes me feel uncomfortable when there's just all this is talk of like authority of like Christ and then the man and then the woman and then the children and stuff. And I think that's a lot where that weird couple who was like trying to control their child's, dating and marriage to the point where they're actually like married and pick who they marry. Like that's where that weird authority shit comes from, and I'm not a fan of that. Uh, so really, that's kind of like my initial thoughts. There might be some videos I dive into that more as I kind of dissect it, but it definitely left me with this really icky, uncomfortable, disturbed feeling that I have not felt in a very, very long time. And it was like, what the hell? What is being taught here? Like, it disturbed me a lot. And so I just wanted to share that. And let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if any of that sounds weird and creepy, if that sounds like good, solid Christianity to you, if that sounds cult-like. Let me know. Uh, and I will talk to you guys soon. If you enjoyed this, consider subscribing and have a great day.